Hi, my name is Kenzie. If you're new here, I am a second year third grade teacher in Indiana, and you're watching the Disney Channel. I've always wanted to do that. I'm sorry. You're watching my YouTube channel. Welcome. What? Hello friends, as you can see today I am not in the classroom, taking a break from working in my room this week, so I thought I'd come at you with some first year teacher tips since I just wrapped up my first year. I just kind of spent some time thinking about what really stuck out to me this year and what I truly learned. So I'm going to be sharing those with you today. I'll be going back to my classroom next week, and I've probably only got a couple of days left of setup, and then I'm going to do a full-blown room tour so you guys can see every inch and every space in my room. So I'm excited for that. Before we get started, I got a package in the mail from Amazon, so I wanted to kind of open that with you guys and show you what it is. So there's a note from, it says, I love your vlogs and pray you have a wonderful year. God bless. Carla, kindergarten teacher in Texas, from Carla Hayes. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. Guys, look! It's the doorbell! Which I mentioned in my last video that I've always wanted one of these and I just hadn't been able to purchase it on my own. Thank you so much, Carla, for that. And it's the pink one, because your girl loves pink, obviously. You know, got lots of pink. And then oh my gosh, she also got me these bags, which I love. Hello Fifth shared how she stores her games in these. So I'm probably going to do that and as well use them for centers. So thank you so much, Carla. I so appreciate your donation to my classroom, and my kids will too. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. My Amazon wish list is in the link below. So if you're ever so generous and you want to purchase something or donate, I would greatly appreciate that. Hi guys, it is hours later. I went to the gym, so that's why I'm kind of a mess right now, but I just got an Amazon package and I wanted to include it in this video. It's from Tara McGowan, and she said, I love watching your videos. I am one that has commented that I am becoming a teacher myself. I still have at least 2 years. I grew up watching the Goosebumps series but never read the books. Hope you enjoy. Thank you so much, Tara. I hope I pronounced your name right. I am so grateful. I have always wanted to get this series for my classroom. I'm sure the kids will get a kick out of it and super enjoy it as well. So thank you so, so much, Tara. I can't say how much I appreciate it. You guys are so generous to me, and I'm just so grateful for those who are following along. I think we're at almost 500 subscribers, which is crazy. Like I said before, did not expect people to really care, but thank you so much for caring and sharing the generosity with me. All right, I'm gonna bring you guys back in where we left off, so bye. All right, so now to get started with our tips. So first things first, tip number 1 is to ask for help and ask questions. I think sometimes we shy away from this. I know I do, just because I get that social anxiety a little bit. But I think it's so important to ask for help when you need it. There was a point this year where I got my long observation date mixed up, and my team member stayed after with me, which is also my mentor, and helped me, and I asked her to do that, and she was so willing. So I think it's just so important when you need help to ask for it. And if you have questions, ask those questions. Nobody's going to judge you. Everybody was a first year teacher at some point, and they know that you're so overwhelmed. There's so much happening. So ask the questions that you need to find the answers to, and I'm sure your team would love to help you out with that, or anybody in your building. I have friends that are on the 5th grade team in my building. I have friends on the 2nd grade team, friends everywhere. There's nobody who's going to shy away from helping you if you just ask for it. All right, tip number 2 is to get to know your team. There's 4 of us on my team, and we are just tight-knit group. I love my team so much. I cannot imagine teaching without them. I've learned so much from them, and we are just we have fun together. So I think it's so important that you get to know your teammates, whether it's just one other person or 4 of you or even 6 of you. Get to know everyone, know their likes, know their dislikes. When it came Christmas time and end of the year time, I knew what my team liked, so I knew what it was that I could purchase for them that would make them feel good and just show my appreciation for them. So get to know your team, get to know their likes and dislikes, ask them about their families, ask them about anything that you just can know about them. Don't be afraid to share ideas with your team. I think as a first year teacher, you're either one or two ways. You're either very excited and eager and gonna share all those ideas and you're confident and bold, or maybe you're a little nervous or shy or, you know, afraid of ideas maybe being shut down. I hope that doesn't happen to you. Thankfully, my team, we all are we want to hear what each other has and what ideas we have to share. So don't be afraid to share those ideas. Yes, you're a first year teacher, but you're also fresh out of college. You've been learning new things. You're innovative. So share those ideas. Don't be afraid to do that. It's so important that you do that, okay? Share those ideas. All right, tip number 3 is to establish parent communication as early as before school even starts. Get to know your parents, get to know your families. Something that I did the first couple of weeks of school that I think is so important, and I learned it in college, one of my professors said it to me and it stuck with me forever, is to email or call. Call is the best. Every single parent within the first couple of weeks of school to share something positive that you have seen in their student. Something you've learned about them that you just love. I think this just breaks kind of norms that parents have of, you know, parents are used to just getting calls for negative things, and we need to change that narrative. They should be getting calls for the positive more often, I think, than the negative. So I think it's so important in the first couple of weeks to establish that parent communication and the bond with them, that you love their child, because you are responsible for building their child up. You spend so much time with their child. So I think it's important that you call and you tell them, hey, they are such a great helper, or hey, they have been so honest, and just, you know, highlighting those positives that they see in their kids every day, and then they can see how they're doing at school. So I challenge you to do that. I know it's a big undertaking, and I can't even imagine for people who teach middle school or high school, but definitely in the elementary, I think it's so important that you call every single parent, or email if that's easier for you, or maybe you have some anxiety speaking over the phone. I totally understand that. I had to kind of email some of mine because life gets crazy and life gets busy, but it's so important that you do that and you establish those parent relationships and you get to know them. I love the parents that were in my classroom. They were so supportive of me, which I have my teacher Instagram, and that was a huge thing with parent communication. My parents got to see what we were doing every day. They got to follow along with our journey together, and I think that really was a big deal for them. I think they really appreciated that, and by the end of the year, it's like I feel like I was in their families with them, you know. I went to lunch with one of my parents, and they have become so important in my life too. So I think it's really important that you establish that parent bond, and the communication is so huge in that. They want to hear from you. So that's kind of where I'm at in that one. Tip number 4 is establish your classroom management before the school year starts. Have a very clear plan for what you want your classroom management to look like, because if you're constantly changing it, the kids are going to fish that out, and they're going to know that you're not confident in how you are handling things that come up in the room. So establish a classroom management routine. Some things that I do in my classroom. First up, we do the house system from the Ron Clark Academy, and we just love it. The kids love earning points. They love working as a team. From the very first day, I put them into their houses. We had a huge celebration for it. And then they came up with a team song, and it was so fun. Every Friday they met with their team. They came up with, you know, different transition jingles that we could use, just different challenges every week, and they had so much fun doing that, and it really just cemented their friendships and their bonds as classmates. So that's what I use. If you want to learn more about the house system, definitely check out the Ron Clark Academy. So that's what I use. My kind of I have a behavior binder as well, and I'll link it below. And basically I have a 3 kind of system with my students. First is just a verbal warning. Second, we have a little conversation and just some reminders, and I show them what they need to do instead. Third, they have to fill out the behavior binder. And basically at the end of each quarter, parents see that if there's anything that the kids had to fill out, and they sign it. So we talk about it. They know the expectations for it. And it's very much a growth mindset driven thing. In the binder it says, what did you do? What could you do better next time? So it's very much looking forward to, hey, how can I make a change? What can I do better? And really thinking through that action. It gives a lot of responsibility to the students. So those are my kind of 2 main things that I use as my classroom management. So make sure you have a very clear classroom management system. That way the kids know, you know, this is how it goes in our classroom. And there's not too much room for, can I get away with this? What's she gonna do? She's changing it, that kind of thing. So those are some ideas. Tip number 5, get to know your resource teacher, your SPED teachers, your assistants in the resource room. I had the best opportunity before I got my first teaching position in my building. I was a long-term sub in the resource room, and I built relationships with all of the resource aides, with the SPED teacher who now I work with every day. And it's so important, guys. They're in your room. They're in helping you with strategies to help some of your students that need that extra help. They're some of my favorite people to be around. I was kind of bummed because I don't know that they're going to be in my room much this year, and they were in my room all the time last year. So get to know them. They are the sweetest people. They want to help. They're the best. They are seriously the best. I love my SPED team in my building, and they're always willing to share with you. I even have a specific space that if they wanted it, when they came into my room, they could pull students back there to work. I have 2 kidney tables in my room. The first one is for me to pull reading groups. The second one is for me to pull students if they need to be closer to me, but also I created it for a space for my SPED teachers to use if they needed it. So get to know your SPED teachers, get to know the resource ladies in your room, because they're with you and they're there to help you, and they are teaching your students. Some of my kids were pulled out quite a bit with her, so we had to be in communication to know, hey, this is what we worked on. Maybe you can work on this more in the classroom. Or she would even come and ask me, what are you guys doing? How can I further practice that in the resource room? So can't say it enough. Get to know your resource SPED teachers. They're the best. So I love the ladies in my building. They're wonderful. All right, tip number 6. Tip number 6, burnout. Burnout might happen. It probably will happen. It hit me in October, and it was hard. I was so overwhelmed. I did not take time for myself. I didn't care for myself properly. So it hit October, and I was like, whoa, I'm exhausted. Don't let this happen to you. Care for yourself. But just know that October is a hard month. That's where you hear a lot of teachers say that it really hits, and it's just the time where we've been in school long enough that you've been working so hard and so dedicated that just kind of happens. So one thing that's worked for me, a schedule that I've made for myself, is one night I for sure have a self-care night where I don't do schoolwork. I just take care of myself. And for me, I'm a big movie buff. I love watching movies. So for me, that's watching a movie. For you, it might be taking a bath or going to get ice cream. I don't know, anything that is just makes you happy. Maybe it's going on a run. That ain't me, but that might be you. So make sure you find one night, it could be more than one night, this is just what works for me, where you just spend on yourself. The other thing is I picked one night that I stayed at school late, and that was always on Thursdays. I didn't want it to be Friday because I wanted to go out and do things. So Thursday night was my night where I stayed at school and I worked. Maybe it was till 6, maybe it was till 7. Maybe you think that's crazy, and that's totally fine. But that was my one night where I just stayed late. I worked in my room. I got things prepped for the next week, and that was just what worked for me. Maybe it doesn't work for you. You have to find what works for you. So, and you'll learn that just kind of as the year begins. So that's kind of my routine for how I helped myself to get out of that October funk. And it really did help, and it's what worked for me the rest of the school year. And I stuck to that routine all year. So that is something that you can do, schedule, make a routine to help you so that you don't burn out, because you don't want to feel that. It is not fun. All right, tip number, what am I on? Did I say 7 last time or 6? I don't even know. Whatever. I think I'm on tip number 7, I think. Ask others to teach you and observe them. One thing that I wish I had done earlier in the year, and it didn't hit me till March, which was right before COVID, was that I need to be learning from others. Some of the teachers in your building have been teaching for a long time. And I finally realized in March, I was like, I need to observe these people. I need to learn from them. There's so much we can learn from each other as teachers. So I was planning to, literally the next week after we ended up closing down because of COVID, I was gonna go into one of my team teachers' room and just watch her one morning. We thankfully, my team sometimes had different special schedules because there were 4 of us and it just didn't work out mathematically for us all to be on the same schedule. So I was just gonna go during one of my preps where my students were at specials. She had her kids still, so I was just gonna go and watch her teach reading. So find times that you can schedule to go into other people's rooms and observe them. Obviously, maybe ask them first. Some people might not be as comfortable, but my team teacher was all about it. She's like, come in, which I'm bummed I never got to. I probably still will this year, because just because I'm a second year teacher doesn't mean I still have lots to learn, because I do. Everyone does. So anyway, go in and observe your team or even other grade levels. See if anybody else is willing to let you come into their room. I don't think it just limits you to your grade level. I think you can learn something from all the teachers in your building. So find who it is that's willing to let you come in and observe them. Be teachable. Don't be so stuck in what you want to do. Be teachable and leave room for growth, and leave room to be flexible and say, it's not about me. It's about growing and working together. So that's a big one. All right, tip number 8. I think that's where we're at, guys. Tip number 8. So build your classroom community. Make it a family in your classroom. That's something that was so important to me, was that we were a family, and we talked about that from the very first day all the way through to the last day. This was your home away from home. You spent so much time here. You spend more time here sometimes than you do at home. So build that classroom community. One of my favorite books, and it's the book I read on the first day of school, at least I did last year. I plan to do that for probably the rest of my career. It's called You're Here for a Reason, and I wish I had it here to show you guys. I'll insert a picture right there. You're Here for a Reason. It is a wonderful book, and it just shows kids, you know, you have a purpose for being here. You are placed here for a reason. And that's what I tell them from the first day of school. You guys were placed in my classroom on purpose. It wasn't by accident. You're here because you were meant to be here. So I think that's something that you just want to talk about with your kids, and tell them that you care and you love them, and that while you're in our classroom, we're a family. We care for each other. We respect each other. That's my big kind of classroom rule. I don't really have classroom rules per se, but expectations. And that's our big one, is respect. Because every other behavior kind of falls within that. You know, kindness falls within that. Listening falls within that. So we just talk about, we're going to respect each other in this room. So that's a big thing. Build that classroom community from the very first day. Play fun games together the first week of school, which obviously I don't know what life's going to look like with COVID. We're going to have to adapt. We're going to have to find other ways, but we will build that classroom community because it's so important. So yeah, that's a big thing. Build that classroom community. Give the kids time to get to know each other, to share what they like, to share different things that they can connect with and that they can build friendships upon. So provide that time for them. We do a morning meeting, and I can't imagine if we didn't. I feel like I wouldn't know my kids half as well as I know them with morning meeting. And we do that every day, and we just talk and we spend time together. We talk about what works in our room, what doesn't. And we just play silly games together that are 5 minutes, not even. You can make time for it. It's important to do. So build that classroom community. Number 9, I know why I mixed those up. I kind of renumbered things. I think actually we're on our very last. Yes, we're on number 10. Sorry guys, my numbers got all mixed up. Sorry for that. My brain, it's fine. Tip number 10 is comparison is the thief of joy. If you compare yourself to others, you're always going to fall short in your own eyes because there's always someone that's doing something that you just find really cool. The teachergram, you can totally fall into that trap when you're looking and watching what other teachers are doing. Do what's best for you, okay? Do what's best for you. Yes, learn and grow. Look at the teachergram. I totally do. But I totally fall down that rabbit hole of, oh my goodness, they're doing this. I'm not doing this. I'm not the best teacher I can be. And it's not always true, guys. So just know that comparison is a thief of joy. I have that quote up in my classroom, and I really direct my students to that all the time because we can always look to someone else and want what they have. But truly, we just need to be happy with ourselves and care for ourselves and know that we are doing the best that we can. So don't allow yourself to compare to the other teachers in your building. I look to my friend Kaylin, she's a 5th grade teacher in my building. Her tag is Fit and Fifth if you want to follow her. I look to her all the time and I'm like, oh my goodness, she's doing all these things. But she's been teaching, she's going on her 5th year, so she's had more time. Just know that you will get there. You have time to grow, you have time to better yourself, and it will come. Don't pressure yourself to do it all right now. You can't do it all right now. You have to limit yourself or you will have your burnout, and you don't want that. So just know each year you can add on, and I think that's what a lot of advice I've heard from other teachers is each year you just add a little bit more or you change things up a little bit more, and that's okay. You can't do it all at once. There's so many more things I wanted to do last year. I just couldn't do it for my own sanity. So you have to care for yourself and also do what's best for your students, and you have to find the middle ground there, and you'll find it. So those are my 10 tips for new teachers. Sorry about messing up the numbering system there. Kind of bothers me as a teacher, but it's fine. All right, well, I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. And again, I will be back with classroom setup next week. Just had to take a break for my own sanity, people. So I hope you have a great rest of your day whenever it is that you're watching this, and I will see you guys next week. Talk to you later.